A very warm good morning to all of you. Dear students, once again I would like to welcome all of you to a new session of the history class. Today we are going to continue with the same chapter number 8, Forward Bloc and the INA, part 2. I hope that all of you have learned the previous part very well. If you haven't learned, please go through the notes and try to understand all the different informations very carefully. Before we move to the class, let's remember those points which we were discussing in the last class. First of all, we were having a small life sketch about Subhas Chandra Bose. Secondly, we were discussing about Forward Bloc, a group founded by Subhas Chandra Bose under the Indian National Congress. Third one, the different objectives of Forward Bloc. So these were the main points which we were discussing in the last class. Today we are going to deal with Indian National Army, our organization which worked from outside India in order to help our Indian national movement. Second one, contributions, the different contributions of Subhas Chandra Bose. And third one, the different objectives of Indian National Army. So without wasting time, let's move to the topic. First of all, we are going to discuss about Indian National Army. The idea of Indian National Army, the concept of Indian National Army was founded by Mohan Singh. He was an Indian officer in the British Indian Army. So he was working for the British people as an army man. But he was not interested to continue his service. So that's why he thought of working for the Indian national movement. And there were a number of reasons behind it, because the way British administration treated the people of India, the different policies introduced by the British administration, the different concepts, different rules and regulations implemented by the British people in India. Mohan Singh, he was very conscious about the real intention of the British. So all these things helped Mohan Singh to take a decision against the British administration. So instead of helping the British army, he started to help Japanese administration to fight against the British. Japanese government encouraged the civil Indians to join against the British. Civil Indians means the people who were living in Japan, but basically or by birth they are from India. That means Indian citizens, those who were living in Japan. So Japanese government encouraged the civil Indians to join against the British. And in order to help Mohan Singh, anyway Mohan Singh was helping Japanese government to fight against the British. So in return, Japanese government helped Mohan Singh. How they helped Mohan Singh? They have provided Indian prisoners of war to Mohan Singh. So don't think that it was a small number. Near about 45,000 of people were there. And Mohan Singh, he tried to convince them, he tried his level best to make them understand what really the British people are doing in India. And near about 40,000 people were willing to join with Mohan Singh. So finally, it resulted in the formation of Indian National Army. And they have taken a decision. They will join the Indian national movement once if their service is being requested or asked by the Indian National Congress, or they should be invited by the people of India. So they won't simply get involved in the Indian national movement, rather they should have an invitation from Indian National Congress or from the people of India. So once they are getting invitation, only they will be going for action. So that's what they have decided in their meeting. So these are the main informations about the formation or the beginning of the Indian National Army. Now let's move to the next part of the chapter, that is the contributions of Subhas Chandra Bose. In the beginning itself, in the beginning of this first chapter also, we have seen Subhas Chandra Bose was not in a good term with the leaders of Indian National Congress. And we have seen he has got elected as the president of the Indian National Congress for the second time in 1939. But because of the different circumstances, he forced to resign from the post of the presidentship. So that's why he thought of helping the international movement, not from India but rather from outside India. So finally Subhas Chandra Bose arrived in Singapore by 1943 July 2nd, and he has addressed the people who were ready to fight against the British from outside India. Those people who were willing to fight against the British greeted him as Netaji. Netaji means the great leader. So in 1943 he had taken up the leadership of Indian Independence League. So that's why he has got greeted as Netaji. That means the great leader. In the same year, that means 1943, August 26th, he had taken the charge of the Indian National Army. So in 1943, July 2nd, he reached in Singapore, and in August 26th, in the same year, he had taken the charge as the Supreme Commander of Indian National Army. And in order to have a very powerful structure, in order to have a very powerful administrative structure, he set up two different headquarters for Indian National Army. One was in Yangon and the second one was at Singapore. And again he has set up different recruitment centers, especially recruitment centers for women with the title Rani Jhansi Recruitment, and he has appointed Dr. Lakshmi Swaminathan as the leader of the Rani Jhansi Recruitment Center, and he has opened number of training camps and recruitment camps. And there he was having only one intention, that was to recruit the Indians, especially those who were living outside the country, to fight against the British. That was his main intention behind opening these kinds of training camps and recruitment camps. Now let's move to the third part of this class, that is objectives of International Army. So the first main objectives of Indian National Army was to organize an armed revolution. We have already seen the idea, the concept, the beliefs of Subhas Chandra Bose was something really different from the leaders of our Indian National Congress. Our Indian National Congress leaders were focusing on non-violent measures to fight against the British. But here, Indian National Army, that means under the leadership of Subhas Chandra Bose, they were ready to fight against the British with modern arms. Fight against the British with modern arms. That was the first objectives of Indian National Army. Second one, delegate the Indians living abroad, especially of East India, which means give the responsibilities to take part in the Indian national movement to the people, especially the Indians who were living abroad. Because for those people it was not permitted, or it was limited for those people to take part in the Indian national movement from their place. So these people were getting a chance to take part in the Indian national movement by taking a membership or by through the recruitment to the Indian National Army, because it was not possible for those people to fight from their homeland or fight for their homeland. So it was the second objective, organize the people who were living in abroad and enable them to fight against the British. And third one, organize a provincial government of free India to mobilize all the forces effectively. To have a very strong, powerful organization like government with all the different rules and regulations, and it will be able to mobilize all the forces effectively to fight against the British. So it was the third objectives of Indian National Army. Then fourth one, mobilization of Indian manpower and money. That means organize all the Indian manpower and money to fight against the British. And here he was focusing, all of you just keep in your mind, he was focusing on those people who were living in abroad, not about the people who were living in India. Because the people who were living abroad were not having a chance to take part in the Indian national movement. So mobilization of those people and their money, so all these things can be used to fight against the British. And the last objectives of Indian National Army was, they were having a motto that means unity, faith and sacrifice. When we were discussing about forward bloc, we have seen that Subhas Chandra Bose was believing in socialist ideology. That means unity. All the people should be working under the leadership of one group of people. So unity, then faith and sacrifice for the sake of the nation. People must be ready to sacrifice their life for the nation. So these were the different objectives of Indian National Army, which enabled the people to fight against the British. And as we have already seen, their main intention was to organize people who were living in abroad. So dear students, I hope that all of you have got a very clear picture about this part, and kindly go through the video along with the notes for the better understanding. So dear students, today we are just winding up the class, and I will be coming up with a new topic in the next class. Till then, I would like to sign off. Thank you.